Il est 7h.
It is 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order, but before to do the adoption of the agenda, I'd just like to make a declaration on behalf of the Council on the Official Languages Act. It's the 50th anniversary this year. On this day of this International Francophonie Day, the Council of the Municipality of Clare wishes to highlight this important anniversary for all the country and residents of Clare. 2019 marks the 50th anniversary of the Official Languages Act. This law defines English and French as the official languages of Canada, as the only bilingual municipality in Nova Scotia that offers its services in both official languages. We recognize the importance of marking this holiday with our residents Francophone and Anglophone in their maternal language, and this year and for the years to come. So with this, before we adopt the agenda, I think Councillor Comeau had an addition. I just wanted to add a subject not to discuss but for information. It will be under the in-camera session. So 12.5, dangerous and unsightly. I would like to add something, but it's on the same subject, so at the same time we'll do both items under 12.5 if you both agree. Yep. So we'll add 12.5, dangerous and unsightly. With this, we need the motion to adopt the agenda. Proposed by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Hill. All in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, motion carried. Are there any items on the agenda that could put you in a conflict of interest? If not, we'll go to 3, presentation, 3.1. Festival Acadien Clare. Alain, welcome. Hello, everyone. Council, everyone. I'm here tonight. Daniel, sorry he can't come tonight, so he gave me a letter that I will read to you, but we came just to say thank you for all you do. And just to give you a bit of what we want to do this year, a little for the festival this year, and a few numbers for a few things, so it won't take very long. I'll start by reading Daniel's letter. The oldest Acadian festival in Clare in the world. In the last years, we have seen an increase in pride in Clare. We think we have found something that works really well with the event. We'll keep making the event very important and putting the artists, Clare artists, in. We added some new. We have been using some old events, and we've added some new events. And I'd just like to say thank you for your contribution and the financial contributions these last years. We're very happy to continue this partnership for the coming years. Thank you, Daniel Leblanc. So we really, all of the committee shares this same opinion. You guys are a really good, important financial partner, and it's very important to us. So just to say a few things, our calendar this year, it's the second year we do the calendar. In 2 years, we raised $18,000, which is good, but I'll explain what goes on. 18,000, yes, but every year we have to do 5,200 in price. So what we did is we took the calendar money in an account and put it in one account, and another account takes $100 every week. So the goal is not to make a huge amount of money with that. It's just to take some year, and if we get the Congress in 2024, that'll be a big year. So we'd like to do something big for that. If not, the money will be spent on the festival. But that's why we're trying to build a small pot with that. So the calendar works really well. We sold about 508 this year, 400 last year, which is good. Eventually it'll go up, but that's good. This year, I'll go to this point before. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the evenings during the festival, but the day, and it doesn't have to be festival. That's not the point. It's just that for the tourists and stuff, there's not much going on during the day. I mean, there's things to do in Clare, but there's not a lot of events for the festival. So I spoke with Ryan Titus at the recreation, and we're going to try to work on organizing kayak or canoe events at Wentworth Lake, which will give people the chance to see the lake, things to do during the week, during the day. We'll try to develop that week really the most possible. We want them to take it over because they're recreation, but I'll be there, I'll be off, I'll be there to help them, guaranteed. And Rand's open to that idea. Usually the festival, the recreation department didn't really want to get into it because they didn't want to affect us, but they said, no, it's perfect. We can have something during the day and then we can have activities in the evening and it'll be a full week. The other thing this year that we'd like to try, the festival goes well, yes, it's very cultural, yes, that's the goal of the festival, but it would be nice to get new people on board, even if they don't really know why they're there, but that they like it. So we thought of a soapbox derby. At the beginning, we thought it would be nice to make a contest that people would make their own soapboxes. But then some people, maybe they're engineers and others will come with carton boxes, so it's not really fair. So then what we did instead is we approached the school and the school said, yes, no problem. We'll make 4 same ones at school. They'll belong to the festival. We'll pay to have them done. And then we'll do races with that. The idea and everything, if I can just say quickly, it's just to do it at the Cape, right where the Cape view is, where it kind of goes downhill. We'd like to have it right there. So it'll bring the festival a little bit, different areas of the festival, Wentworth Lake, Cape, not just centralized. So that's what we're looking at for this year. Otherwise, it'll be the same events that we'll have, that'll stay the same. So we think that with that, maybe, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years old, they'll get into the festival without it being music or just something that'll interest them. And after we have their interest, they'll just get on board with the festival. So that's what we plan for this year. Do you guys have any questions? Councillor DeVoe? Thank you, Mr. Warden. I was thinking of the soapbox derby race. They have them in Saint Bernard. And it was very popular. The people liked it. They had stopped for, I'm not really sure why, but so I'm happy to hear that they're bringing that back because it's people really liked it. Yeah, especially the youth. We'll try it. We don't know if it'll, as like Danielle, our Director General, said we have to start things. Maybe some things won't work, but we have to try it at least. So I think that if we have them done this year and we have first same ones, maybe later people will say, oh, it'll be fun if we do our own, and then we'll start something and then that'll go on. But first we just wanted to try to have really a success, that to have first same ones, just to encourage people. So we'll make them tough enough that even adults could try them. So we expect to have maybe three school groups. So there will be the youngest, the oldest, and so we plan to do that on the Saturday of the opening weekend. So the opening, we could maybe give medals or something just to make it more of an event. So it'll be a test, like I say. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we'll try it. Are there other questions? Doesn't seem to be more questions, but certainly there's no doubt that you guys make extremely good work, the festival. The festival is very well managed. We see it in the finances and the activities and everything else, how it's organized. It's really professional. So we give you a lot of credit for what you've accomplished these last few years, and continue the nice work. Thank you very much. Like I said, thank you for your financial contributions. Yes, we're getting out of of debt, but it's important to have this partnership with us. It helps us a lot. This partnership, everything, even people that come see the events. If people aren't there, it's not worth doing something. So in general, everyone really contributes to the festival, so that's good. So we're happy. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
we go to 4, adoption of minutes. 4.1, February 20, 2019, regular meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? A motion is in order, proposed by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All in favor? Against? Carried. 4.2, March 6, 2019, Council and Committee meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Motion proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. All in favor? Against? Carried. 5, business arising from previous meetings. 5.1, Human Resources Policy Manual. At the last meeting, I presented to you a draft of the manual developed by the municipality with Wickwire Hole. We've modernized our manual. We've added policies that we did not actually have and which we needed to have. Following on the presentation of the manual, there were 3 comments, 3 suggestions which were made. The first is section 5, page 20, concerning the use of search agencies. Their use will be approved by the council and the Director General, or the CAO. This would be for the hiring of a CAO. Often we used a search agency, but it would be perhaps not quite right to have the CAO involved in that, so we made a modification there. So the use of search agencies is only at the discretion of the council. That's one change. On page 20, another change where the council is involved or possibly involved in the hiring process for the senior management positions, not just the CAO, but financial officer, etc. Based on the discussion of 6th of March, with the exception of the CAO, that the council would not be involved. We made that revision, so this will be at the discretion of the CAO and another person whom I will ask for to help me with the process. And the recommendation will be made to the council. And finally, the third change is section 18, page 66. The municipalities of the municipality would be paid the balance of their sick days at the moment of their retirement. Our consultants suggested this because of what's done in other municipalities. The staff was not necessarily for this, but we've so I went through the Association of Municipal Administrators of Nova Scotia. I asked the question. 15 municipalities replied. 5 of those do this, 10 don't do this. Those who don't have this practice gave us some excellent reasons to not do it. Simply, in several cases, there were unfunded liabilities, and these were fairly considerable figures. So this isn't as if we were removing something or taking something away. So I discussed this with financial, and we're in agreement with removing that from the manual. And this would be the revisions that are proposed, and this is the answer to the comments that were made. Unless there are others, I would ask for a motion from the council this evening to go ahead. Is there someone who would like to make the motion? Councillor Poitier. I move that the council of the Municipality of District of Clare approve the Human Resources Policy Manual as presented. Is there someone who wants to second that? Councillor Thibault seconds the motion. Is there a discussion? Are you ready for the vote? All in favor? Against? Carried. 5.2, tipping fees, rates for 2019-2020. At the last meeting of the council and committee, we discussed this, but we didn't come to a decision, and we need a decision, and that's why it's on the agenda once again. Councillor Poitier had an idea of how to advance here. He had some concerns at the last meeting of the council, the committee and council and committee. My concern is that suppliers who bring commercial waste, is they have contracts with companies year by year. So an increase might not give them a chance to adjust their rates. So if we gave them an advance notice of a year, I would support that. We spoke with you about this. Just to add, after I spoke with Jeanette in financial, and we think it's a good idea. It's something concerning suppliers. I think myself that it's fairer. It would give them a chance to prepare themselves in advance, and it's a negligible amount for the budget this year. So if the council wants to proceed in this manner, we could keep the rates as they are for this year's budget, but we would need a motion to increase the rates for the coming budget 2021. So we should warn the suppliers this year that an increase is in the works. So this is a third option that's sort of between the two options considered at the earlier meeting. So what is the wish of council? Councillor Thibault? I'm in agreement with Councillor Poitier. I think a year advance notice is reasonable. Would you like to make the motion? Yes, I would make the motion. Councillor Thibault moves that we implement the increase for 2020-2021. Is there discussion on the motion? Are you ready for the vote? All in favor? Against? Carried. 5.3, Southwest Eco Energy.
This is only for information for the council. Following the tax sale of the March 9th, we've had interest from different groups for the Southwest Eco Energy because of the calls that I've received in the municipality of Digby has received some as well. We opted to once again invite people to submit for the property. So there's a tax sale by tender that came out once again. And I think the date, I think they're closing on, I think it's closing on April 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, or April 5th, actually. So that's it. We're still trying one more time, but since the tax sale, it seems to have raised some interest among different groups. So we hope that something will come out of it this time. Are there any questions? If not, we'll go to number 6, Warden's Activity Report. On February 21st, I went to network dinner organized by the CDNA. The invited guest was Simon d'Entremont, Minister of Energy and Mines, and seniors. And at that meeting, he informed me that he had our letter about the offshore oil and gas, and it's his intention to do a tour of the province and meet the different municipalities that wrote letters. So at some point in the next year, we'll see him. February 22nd, I went to the meeting of the executive of the CDNA in Halifax. March 5th, I participated at an interview with Kelly Tuffel, a journalist for the Public Policy Forum on immigration, rural immigration in Canada, Atlantic Canada, and particularly in the Clare municipality. So she's very interested in the idea that we have a committee here and that the group Operation Compassion that works to bring immigrants in the areas, and she was aware of the ceremony that we had, that council had before the meeting in January. So her article will come out in April. She'll send us a little note to tell us when it'll come out. But I think she's really interested to talk about what's going on here, so that was really nice. On March 13th, I went to a reception at the Cineplex Theatre in Yarmouth to celebrate the success of the Connector program administered by the REN. On March 15th, I went to a meeting, Stefan and I, with Christophe Katashian. He was a delegate from France to discuss the possibility of a twinning between Clare and a region in France with Acadian relations. So Stefan can maybe help me on this one. His role is to meet different Acadian or French regions outside of Quebec, especially in Canada, Atlantic Canada, to try to raise the relations between France and Canada. In our case, I think we see maybe an opportunity for the Congress 2024. Chances are we'll have to do some work to try to encourage people from France to come over. So if I understand well, he'll bring our information, and he met with Alistair Sudat as well, the rector of the University Sainte-Anne, to see if there were links there as well. So in the future, he will contact us and then the council will decide if it makes sense or not, if there's an advantage of doing it or not. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add. It was essentially it. We just looked at different municipalities that were similar to ours in terms of population, geography, industry, primary industry. We were also interested in maybe seeing the possibility between cultural links, interesting cultural similarities of where Acadians here lived before coming to Nova Scotia and where they went after the deportation. If there's possibility to find relations between founding families in Clare. We also looked at academic level. The warden mentioned if certain regions have a university where we could make some links interesting with that, and also economic level. He told us as an example, like a city by the ocean where they have a strong fisheries industry. So it's up to us to see if there's if it's something we want to pursue, and if yes, if there's certain cities that really interest us. So he'll try to make those links and to see and to establish the relations, and then it'll be us and the city over there to develop that and try to develop cultural, commercial links, etc. And March 19th, I went to the executive committee meeting at the Harborside Lodge in Yarmouth. I don't know if you have questions. If not, we'll go to 7, official statements from members of council. Councillor Camus. I'd just like to say congratulations to Janice McNutt from Comoville, who was honored for a prize that she one earlier this year. There's an article that came out in January in the bulletin, January 2019, that came out from the principal of St. Mary's Bay Academy. I'll just read a paragraph. So, congratulations, Janice, and I'd just like to suggest that the municipality send a letter to her to congratulate her. You all agree? Yes? Are there other presentations, official presentations? If not, we'll go to number 8, correspondence. 8.1, letter, Karen Matatal, Mayor, Town of Shelburne.
Nova Scotia. The town of Shelburne would like to propose that a portion of the provincial HST goes back to municipal units who own and are responsible for 2/3 of public infrastructure. As we all know, property taxes alone can't keep up with our growing local needs. There is mounting evidence that the main risk to financial viability of our communities is both the cost of infrastructure to provide services and service levels that don't reflect fiscal capacity. Asset management studies have demonstrated that our infrastructure is in need of maintenance and repairs that already exceed our budgets, let alone expanding infrastructure to help our communities grow. As municipal units, we are often faced with new responsibilities that are forced upon us by the provincial government. In Shelburne, we have a former federal government wharf that requires major repairs to maintain. We are being told to contribute to doctor retention programs, fund libraries, fund education, pay for policing, and so many more additional expenses that were not part of our responsibility in the past. These new additional costs, ones that we have no choice but to accept, make it even more difficult to plan future projects and stick to our budgets. By distributing a small portion, we are asking for 0.75% of the HST to municipal units. This will result in municipal units receiving a portion of the taxes collected from both tourists and residents who use our infrastructure without having to resort to imposing large increases in property taxes to cover our basic needs. HST makes up roughly 18% of the total tax revenue. We are asking for 0.75% of that 18%. The Nova Scotia provincial government is balancing their budgets while many municipalities are struggling to maintain basic standards. The town of Shelburne is asking other municipal units to collectively lobby for a small share of this HST and asking you to write to us showing support. This item could then be forwarded to the NSFM. Please send all letters to the clerk, Town of Shelburne, or by email. Sincerely, Karen Matatal, Mayor, Town of Shelburne.
I don't know if you want to make a decision. She asked for us to write a letter. I don't know if you want to make a decision tonight or have time to think about it, because you just really read the letter, to have the letter, so it's really your choice. Does someone want to express themselves? Councillor Hill?
I think we should send a letter of support because more and more every year, the federal government and provincial government is just downloading everything on the municipalities. I mean, they're making themselves look good by balancing their budget because municipalities are paying for it. And I think we should send a letter of support.
Councillor DeVoe, thank you. I read the letter this afternoon, and it didn't take me a long time to react. I also think that we should write a letter. They continue to throw some on our backs, as we say, and I think we should go ahead and write a letter. Someone else? Councillor Potier?
A question for the CAO. What would that change in numbers and figures for the municipality if we did something like that? No, I haven't had the opportunity to do that analysis. It seems that we discussed this at the NSFM, but I don't recall whether this was chosen as a priority for the coming year. But to answer your question, no, I haven't done that analysis. Is there someone else who has something to say? Is there someone who wants to make the motion? Or do you want to wait on this? Councillor DeVoe? I'm ready to make the motion to send a letter of support. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Hill. Is there discussion on the motion? Are you ready for the vote? All in favor say aye. Contrary minded nay. Carried. Next, 8.2, letter from Wayne Godet. This is for information. Good day, Mr. Sear. On behalf of the directors of the Health Center, the Clare Health Center Foundation, I wish to ask for a contribution of $500. The launch will take place with wine and cheese on the 25th of April, Thursday, at 7 p.m. at the St. Anne's Cafeteria. We hope the council will be able to support this activity. Yours very truly. I've already approved the contribution of $500. This is a good cause. The success of the foundation, it goes directly to the medical center. It seems to me that $500 for all the work that the group does is very little. So this letter is on the agenda mainly as information for the councillors that the launch will take place on the 25th of April. 8.3, full sail towards a green fortune. Councillors, we of the group Plein Voile vers un avenir vert, we thank you for your time and your attention. To recapitulate, we have already made 2 requests. We ask you not to give balloons for events sponsored by the council and to no longer use plastic utensils and styrofoam at events sponsored by the council. We understand that these changes could be challenges, but we are convinced that we have to protect our environment and our future. Following on the presentation of the group, on the 20th of February, I was supported by Ann Titus, who's the Director of Recreation, and by Amy Paradis, our Communications Officer. And they're very interested in this, both of them, especially Ann Titus as Manager of Recreation and activities every year. So Anne has offered herself as a volunteer to work with the group on this question to see what can be done as a partnership. We have had discussions concerning around Canada Day and the Grand Fondo. There are ideas that are possible in connection with those 2 activities. So these discussions take place internally, and we will also have them with a group of young people. This is a partnership that we want to develop in the future, so Rayanne will communicate with this group if she hasn't already done so. Carol, following on the information on the meeting we had with the group, I spoke and I exchanged emails, and I have also given my name as a person who would like to be involved, perhaps as a a director of Waste Check. I'm not sure if there's a conflict here. In any case, I gave my name as a contact person if I can help them in any way. I think it's a good thing because you represent the municipality and the public with Waste Check. So I think you can bring your concerns to the committee. We'll go on to 9, the report of the CAO. My report is a bit shorter than usual because we are coming to the end of our fiscal year. Our other projects depend on the budget, which will be approved. Concerning the Grand Fondo, we had 187 registered participants, including 55 from outside the province, 29%. Once again, within the 187, there were many who were participating for the first time. 42% of registrants. That's a very high percentage. And if we look at where we are compared to last year, we have about 34, 35 more people who have registered than at the same time last year. So we're making progress. The jerseys for this year have been revealed, unveiled. It's an Acadian theme, a bit different. The feedback so far concerning the jerseys has been very positive. The committee is very pleased with the comments that have been received. Concerning hospitality sponsors, Annapolis Basin Conference Center and the Admiral Digby Inn have confirmed they will be partnering this year. They approached us directly. The sponsorship package for the rest of the event will be launched shortly on the Facebook page. Something which the committee is doing this year is they are doing profiles of the volunteers. Without volunteers, this event would not exist. So every year we do profiles of volunteers or groups of volunteers. Councillor Thibault and his wife were chosen as volunteers. And this is in order to recognize the important contribution of volunteers. So this is something they will be continuing to do. For the Center of Veterans Center, the renovations are essentially done, just the mirrors that need to be done. We are now looking at possible renters. The reservations are possible beginning on the 1st of April. Concerning the biggest project for this center, we are still finalizing estimates for different projects. These will be presented for your consideration at the council and committee concerning the World Acadian Conference of 2024. The committee, the International Committee, will be visiting here in 2025 April. They aren't saying who will be coming exactly. There will be a presentation over 2 days of our candidature, followed by a visit of the area. This is to promote all the potential of our region and to convince them that our area of Clare Argyll would be the best choice. The decision will be made and announced in the month of May. We hope that at the meeting of the 25th and 26th, this will go very well. The first day will be in Clare and the second day in Argyll. concerning finances.
Concerning the finances, the municipality had 9,105,432 in revenues, compared to $5,573 in expenses, for a revenue net of $1,881,359. For our revenues, we are over what we budgeted for the year. So financially, up until now, things are going well. And as of March 28th, the municipality had a balance of roughly 1.1 million in its operational fund, 255,532 in its capital fund, and a total of a reserve balance for a total of $4,309,338. That amount we can distribute it in the following ways: operational reserve, 46,000 roughly. Capital projects reserve, 2,681,625. The landfill closure reserve, 323,422, and finally, the gas tax reserve, 857,485. So there's still a last payment that we'll receive for this this fiscal year. Internally, as you know, for those that are listening, the municipal tax sale was held on March 9th here at the municipal office. The sale, a lot of people were in the room for the sale portion, so that was really nice. A lot of people here to attend. There was a total of 37 properties for sale, and among those 37, we sold 32. So that was a success. So for the operational budget, 2019 to 2020, it's going well. All the department budgets were submitted. My goal, as well as the goal of the Director of Finance, is to present the budgets and the motions for your approval at the council meeting of April 17th. As we did in the past years, to come up with that, to meet this deadline, we'll have to meet a date to have a special council meeting to really concentrate on the budget. So we're looking at the tentative date of Monday, April 8th, if that would work for you guys. I also met this week with our representatives from Grant Thornton to complete the pre-audit work for the audit for 2018-2019. So it's essentially a series of interviews and questions that they asked that to myself and other members from the finance department, and they just randomly choose different things to sample. So far it went really, really well. There were no problems. Not at this stage anyways. Finally, in terms of meetings that I participated until February 20th, a few meetings, I met twice with Caroline Sloan from the CSAL, Clare CSAL. Once February 20th here at the municipality, a second time on March 12th with Alistair Sudet, the president of University Sathon, to discuss the project that they're trying to put forward. So I also met on February 28th with Bob Gordon and Paul Peasley from Property Evaluation Services to discuss a few properties in the municipality, especially commercial properties. The committee for the Acadian Congress met on March 6th in Tuscot, and that was to prepare for the evaluation committee visit. And as the warden said earlier, I went to a meeting with Mr. Katsaya from France to discuss the possibility of twinning. A few meetings to note that are coming. There's the volunteer banquet that will be coming up on March 30th. I have a meeting with Development Nova Scotia, a call on April 2nd, to try to have them come over in the area to look at a few possibilities of project that we'd like to develop in the area. I think it would be important to have their input because they put a lot of importance on placemaking. So it would be there's a few areas in the municipality that could be of interest that I'd like to discuss with them. And finally, there's the volunteer banquet that the municipality organizes every year will take place on April 11th. So that's my report. Are there any questions? No, Councillor Camus? I just have a few. First, you'll give us a list of the work to do for the biggest work for the Clare Veterans Center. Yes, we're working with a contractor with the area who's putting all the specs together and the cost estimates, as well as our team here at the municipality is also working on it. So we had discussions on this project in the past. We had drawn up a list that we had worked with the council, and it's essentially the same list that we're working, except the intention is to present really the separate items with costs to give us an idea of what would be the total cost of the project. And if you want to cut or go forward with the list that we give out, we'd be able to finalize the request. So there were some problems with the provincial and federal infrastructure wise. We haven't had any date yet as to when we can apply. So if I look at the media, different articles that come out, they make reference a lot to June 30th. So I haven't had anyone from the federal or provincial who gave me that as an official date, but people seem to be aligning for June 30th. So the intention of that project and other projects that we want to consider would be that in the as much as possible to have everything ready for June 30th. So that's really what we're aiming for. Okay, and as my second question is, when are the taxes due this year? The taxes, once the budget is approved, the precise date has not been identified yet, but it'll be the same process as last year. If you remember last year, it came out a month early. It was administrative level wise. It was success for us. The intention is to do the same this year, but we don't have a specific date yet. Once the budget is approved, then it'll be fixed, but it'll probably be everything will the invoices are coming out probably for the end of May. Are there other questions? Okay, we'll go to 10, committee reports. 10.1, building permits report. Councillor Hill.
The constructions for February of 2018, there were 4 permits issued for $88,000 worth of construction, and the year-to-date was $854,000 for February of last year. And February of this year, there was 3 permits for $34,000 worth of construction, and the year-to-date for this year is $894,000. Last month when I said there was $10,000 ahead. We were $100,000 ahead. I couldn't read my own writing. I'm sorry about that. But as of this year, we're $50,000 ahead of last year. So.
Are there any questions? Okay, we'll go to 11, new business. 11.1, motion to approve funding request. Senora Securite. As you know, for many years we've been financing Senora Securite. It's always been 3-year contracts, and this year ends the 3rd year. So for the budget, if it's the councillor's desire to continue to finance it, we would need the motion. We need the motion to more or less finance them for another 3 years. So I don't know if, I think it's the intention of the councillor to do it, so we would just need the motion. Would you like to do the motion?
Good program. I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare provide a financial contribution in the amount of $37,869 per year for the next 3 years to the Association des Seniors en Sécurité, and that is the contribution to be adjusted annually in accordance with the previous year's consumer price index.
Is there a seconder? Councillor DeVoe, is there any discussion, comments? Councillor Como, just to say that it's a good project. And with an aging population, we will need the services of this project. Just to recall, we will be inviting the responsible person to come and make a presentation to the council. Are there any other interventions? I had the opportunity of being at a meeting, at a presentation of this organization, and I appreciate all the work done under this project. It's really good work. Without this work, the police would be busier, and the ambulances would be busier. This is really good work. Thank you. In fact, the municipality had not adopted but accepted the report of being a senior-friendly community. So I think it's fitting that we should be supporting this initiative. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. 11.2, motion to appoint a community representative to the Western Regional Housing Authority. Certainly, we've been approached by the current representative to say that his mandate was coming to an end, and that it would be important that the municipality of Clare continue to be represented on this Board of Administrators. So we published an advertisement inviting people to volunteer as for this position. One person submitted. It is Denise Leblanc. She is already working with the municipality as part of our police advisory board, and given that this is the only candidate, and in addition this is someone who is well known to us and very competent, so the staff recommends that we accept this candidature. I will make the motion, Mr. Warden. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare appoint Denise Leblanc as the Clare Community Representative on the Board of the Western Regional Housing Authority. Is there a seconder, Councillor Como? Is there discussion on the motion? Inaudible remark? Motion carried. 11.3, motion to accept the employee salary scale. According to the policy on municipal salaries, we are required to evaluate our salary scales every 3 years to see if we are offering competitive rates and if they are fair for the employees, and also whether they are reasonable for the municipality. We've gone through that exercise this year. We've conducted comparisons with municipalities in southwestern Nova Scotia, including municipality of Digby, town of Digby, Yarmouth, the municipality of Argyle, and the municipality of Barrington, and we also did comparisons with the Economic Council of Nova Scotia, the REN, and the St. Anne's University. We also compared salaries. We did a survey on salaries by the Association of Administrators of Nova Scotia. The conclusion is that our current salaries compare favorably with those of our neighbors and our partners like St. Anne and the REN and the CDNE. So in consultation with the other members of staff, we recommend that our salary scale be maintained as it is and that it be adjusted every year as part, following the consumer price index. A motion would be in order. Is there someone who wants to make the motion? Councillor Thibault. I move that the council for the municipality of Clare accept the proposed municipal employee salary scales for the 3-period beginning April 1st, 2019 and ending March 31st, 2022. Is there a seconder? Councillor Hill. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor? Against? Carried. 11.4, motion to approve the terms of reference for the audit committee. This is under good governance. This is something we want to have for our audit committee. We want new terms of reference. So we develop these internally in consultation with our auditors. This is something which was presented at the last meeting of the audit committee and which was approved by the audit committee. So myself and other members of the finance department, we recommend that this motion be adopted. Councillor Como, you were chairing the committee? Yes. I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare approve the terms of reference for the audit committee as presented. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Against? Carried. 11.5, motion to enact bylaw 37, respecting subdivisions, second and final reading. If you allow me, I have already consulted with the members of the bylaw committee. Following on the first reading, we received, we met myself and Lynette Muse, our lawyer, and with Michael Doucette, with Akerley and Doucette Surveying, and Matthew LeBlanc of Wolf something Surveying Limited. And they had some comments and certain concerns, especially concerning the instruments of subdivision in the municipality. It was a good discussion, and they informed us of their concerns and some revisions that they proposed, but it was mainly verbal. These are experts in the area, and their comments have value, and our lawyer seems to be in agreement. So I have asked them to supply their comments in writing to see what they suggest as revisions, because there was some back and forth concerning their concerns and their recommendations. Myself and our lawyer, we had a good discussion, but I think that given that they've taken the time to come from Tuscott and Digby to meet with us, and given that they do a lot of work in the municipality, I think it would be good to give them the time to give their comments in writing, and we could bring this to the bylaw committee to discuss them in greater length and bring them back to the council with our recommendations concerning how to proceed, if you agree. Are there any questions or comments? So you think it would be ready for the next meeting? I hope so. I'm ready to recommend to the council to give us some more time. I imagine that we will have it for next month. I can certainly do a follow-up with them to ensure this.
Are there other questions, comments? You're comfortable with that? It'll need a motion to send it back to the bylaw committee for more, to further examine it. So Councillor Camo, you do the motion. Seconded by Councillor Potier. So more or less the motion is that with the information that we have received, the council will send the bylaw again to the committee to look at it, to make the necessary changes if applicable. You'll clean up the motion. You're good at that. Are there any questions on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. 11.6, motion to adopt volunteer fire service vehicle assessment. Do you want to talk a little bit about it, or? This is something that, as you know, we have some vehicles, fire trucks that need to be replaced in the municipality. It's more of a question of, we knew that some would need to be replaced. It was more like which would need to be replaced first, which really need to be replaced, which can still be used for 5 years or 10 years or regardless. So what we did is we hired Emergency and Training Inc. To do an evaluation of everything that we have in terms of trucks in the municipality at the fire departments, and to suggest a strategy for the replacement, when, in which order, which truck is priority, and other suggestions regarding the governance of the firefighting in the municipality. So the report was, we discussed the report at the council committee meeting. A few minor changes were made since the council meeting. I spoke about it with emergency management and training, and they were all in agreement. For them, it didn't really change their recommendations in the report or anything. So the intention basically is that the report needs to be adopted by the council. Once it is, we would share it with the different fire departments and the Clare Firefighters Association. And from there, the intention would be to possibly do a public meeting at the beginning of April to share it with the community as needed. But to start, we first need to adopt the report by the council. So we would need the motion to adopt the report, if you guys agree. So moved by Councillor Leblanc. There's probably a written motion if you want to read it. I think it was a good report. It was it was very detailed, and I'm ready to do the motion. I move that the council for the municipality of the district of Clare adopt the volunteer fire service vehicle assessment report as prepared by Emergency Management and Training Inc. Someone who wants to second? Seconded by Deputy Warden Doucet. Any discussion? Councillor Hill?
By adopting this report, and if it gets approved, it doesn't mean we have to follow everything in the report, right? There's more or less suggestions.
Follow it as much as we can. I mean, that's my feeling. I mean, we adopt the report. If there's something major that you're in disagreement with, probably now's the time to bring it up.
I just think that I'd like to see the fire department's reactions to it, because, I mean, I don't know, they know a lot more about this than we do. I mean, I'm not in agreement with everything in the report. So does that mean I shouldn't vote to adopt it?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you can have disagreements with it, but support it in principle and just basically explain which points you're in a disagreement with. I mean, council will adopt it. There's quite a few steps to go through before council. Any purchase needs motions of council and all that. So those things still have to get passed by council. But this, to me, is a roadmap, essentially, of how we're going to proceed. Would that be fair?
Yeah, the report essentially looks at, how to proceed in terms of which vehicles to replace, which order they should be replaced in, what prospective models for those vehicles could be for the pumper, tanker, rescue trucks, et cetera. In terms of how we finance those purchases specifically, that it's still, it doesn't offer much in there, so that's still at council's discretion and still would have to be decided upon even after the report is adopted. So there will be a need for future discussion in terms of the actual implementation of this report and specifically the funding model.
So I guess the way I look at it, and this is just the way for me personally, but it's a roadmap to move forward to make sure we understand the needs of the fire department. If there's something that council really doesn't agree with or can't, do, then it's for us to make a really good, explanation of why it makes sense. But not, to me, where it becomes dangerous is if you start picking and choosing points you like just because it's council's discretion. You have to have to me, you'd have to have a good argument or a justification to change major parts of it. But on the financing part, I think really that's separate from the report, I'd say. Teacher Zach,
Someone else? Councillor Camo?
Concerned, but the whole report in its entirety, I think, it gives us really good information to go on and to move forward. So for that reason, I support it, but I agree with Councillor Danny Hill.
Thank you. I did 32 years as a volunteer firefighter. I was happy with the report, very happy with the report. It is just to guide us. There are changes that we'll make later that won't go exactly with the report because things might change, but I was very happy with the report, so it was very well. It's a guide, there's no doubt. The council at the end of the day can do the changes that they feel are necessary and that are justifiable. As I say, it becomes dangerous if you make decisions just to change the document to be more accommodating. But at the same time, for me, I mean, when I look at it, if there's a reason to change it, then we can change it. But it needs to be solid, then the reason needs to be solid. But it's like you said, it's to guide us. It's a roadmap, essentially. Did you want to add something, or are you ready for the question? All in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary? Motion carried. Next, we'll go to 11.7, motion for letter of support, Sustainable Oceans Applied Research Limited, SOAR. This is a request that we received. It's something that we received. It came kind of at the last minute, but it's something that I can tell you that was approved by the municipality of Digby as well as Université Sainte-Anne. Without going through all the process, SOAR is Sustainable Oceans Applied Research Limited.
Maintain healthy coastal communities and marine ecosystems. So SOAR right now is the Canada and UK have come together and they're pitching they're looking for pitches for high quality projects that explore cutting edge of smart grid innovation. So over the next decade, they're anticipating millions of new smart connected electric devices which will come online at what they call to be the grid edge, with the potential to act as new energy system assets. So it's SOAR's objective to basically to develop a solution that will achieve a real-world end-to-end demonstration of a coastal community smart grid system. Basically integrating tidal, wind, and solar and photovoltaic power with smart grids controls, energy storage, etc. So the Power Forward Challenge is essentially the competition they're applying to. It's an open call for proposals. A group of finalists will be selected to receive up to $3 million or 1.8 million pounds, each over approximately 16 months, to conduct a pilot scale demonstration of their solution for the grid of the future. So essentially, it's something that they're basically looking for support. The application has already gone in, but it's something that if we choose to support via letter from council, that our letter can be added to it after the fact. I don't have much more than what I've provided you with here tonight. I take some reassurance in knowing that both the municipality of Digby and the University of Saint Anne are supportive of the project. I know AF Terrio as well has been involved with SOAR as a supplier or partner of sorts in terms of building some of their infrastructure. So there are local ties to the community as well. But that said, it's at council's discretion if we choose to issue a letter of support or not.
Consegue dizer?
What is your wish? Do you want to support this project by writing a letter of support, Councillor Como? We don't have a written motion. I move that the Council of the Municipality of the District of Clare write a letter to support the submission of the Changing Tides Partnership, Power for Challenge. Seconded by Councillor Hill. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor? Against? Carried. 12, behind in-camera session. We have 5 items. Echo Park, Rural Internet, 12.3, former St. Albert Elementary School, 12.4, evaluation of the CAO, and 12.5, dangerous and unsightly properties. So we require a motion to go into in-camera session. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. All in favor? Against? Carried. Good evening and a good